Okay, we are doing learning target 6.8. I can explain and define phase changes. So the three phase changes we talked about are let's just think about water. So the coldest water can get would be ice. We call that form of matter a solid. If we add heat to it, the ice will melt and we would get water, which we consider a liquid. And then if you continue to add heat to the liquid, you would get a gas in terms of steam. So these are our three states of matter that we considered. Now the thing that we need to think about is what happens to energy as you go up or down this ladder that we're going to create. So let's start again at solid. If you add energy to solid, you get a liquid. So this is the side where we are adding heat. So going from a solid to a liquid, we call melting. Okay, if you add more heat and go from a liquid to a gas, we call that evaporation. Okay, so those are the two phase changes when you add heat. Now the opposite would be removing heat. So that's going to be on the other side of our ladder. So let's start at gas. If we remove heat and go from a gas to a liquid, we call that condensation. If you remove more heat from a liquid and get to a solid, we call that freezing. Okay? There's another word for freezing. It's sometimes called fusion. And there's another word for evaporization. It's sometimes called vaporization. So the individual example is explain what happens to the bonds between molecules when ice turns to water then turns to steam. Describe as heat if heat is being added or removed. So pause the video here and then try it on your own. So the first thing we need to consider is the phases that this water starts in. So it starts as ice. So that is a solid. Then it turns into a liquid because it turns into water. So that's our next phase. And then it turns into steam, which is the last phase, which is gas. Okay? So if we are going from solid to liquid to gas, we know that we have to be adding heat because we are going up this ladder. Now, that is part of the question that we answered. We answered this part. Describe if heat is being added or removed. We know that it is adding heat. Okay, now we need to talk about the molecules. What is happening to these molecules? Well, the reason you need to add heat is because as a solid, so if we consider ice, the bonds between molecules are stiff. That is why it looks like a solid. Okay? Then, if you add heat, you start to break those bonds between molecules. And if you break the bonds, it will turn into a liquid, free to move around a cup. Okay? But they still have a few bonds that are stuck together in the water, causing it to stay as water. So if you add more heat, it'll turn to gas, where it's free to move wherever it wants to go. It can go this way, it can go that way, it can go that way, because there are no bonds holding it together.